Well, I was working on a totally different video, and then Udyr arrived out of nowhere. So of course we have to abandon everything and talk about Udyr. Right now, Udyr is not on PBE, but he should arrive there in about 4 days. So far we only have 2 gameplay videos of the new Udyr. One of them is the official gameplay trailer, and the other video is on Trick2G's channel, which, you know, definitely makes sense. He is definitely the Udyr guy after all. But did you know that something weird happened to Udyr the day before this reveal? If you went to Universe, it seems like Riot was trying to update Udyr's story there behind the scenes, because his spot among all the champions was blank, and his bio was missing too. The new story has not leaked anywhere, but it was obvious that Riot was preparing for the new Udyr. And lo and behold, a day later he was revealed, which also means that when he drops on PBE in about 4 days, it is possible that we might already get his new story. Anyway, the trailer and also some parts of Trick2G's video have a lot of things that we can talk about, which is why I'm making this video. So now, without further ado, let's have a look at what was revealed to us. As we get the close-up on the new Udyr, it feels like the original concept of his tattoos was changed a bit. Although it is possible that they just changed the placement of them. The tattoos still kinda resemble the animals, but especially as he's moving around, it is extremely hard to tell them apart. Also to note, his clothing has a lot of references. You can see he's wearing the Ionian beads as his belt, and he also has some of Lee Sin's bandages on his left hand. And there is also the blue feather which he tied to his hair. Right now I don't think this one has a lore reason, unless it's something obvious I'm missing, but I wouldn't be surprised if this feather came from a new story. At the end of this trailer you can see how he cherishes the power of the Cryo Phoenix. So I wonder if in the newest story, Udyr is going to meet Anivia, and Anivia is going to help him get the Volibear out of his mind. Then it starts showing off all the abilities. In the previous dev posts we have only seen a few of them, so this is the first time we get to fully see them in action. There is the bear, which is now replacing the tiger. Then there is the iron boar that very quickly became a meme. I like how this defensive stance still resembles the original turtle. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people still thought that this was a turtle. But no, this is the iron boar. And it gets really cool in just a moment. Also, in case you forgot why there is the Iron Boar, remember that Udyr is channeling the powers of the primal gods. And one of them, just like Volibear, Anivia or Ornn, is the Iron Boar. We have not seen the Iron Boar yet, and I do believe it was confirmed that the boar in Legends of Runeterra is not this primal god. But we know the Iron Boar exists because Tryndamere's old tribe worshipped this demigod. Anyway, then there is the ram. This is replacing the old bear. It also gives him a speed and a stun, and this is obviously themed after Ornn. And it finishes with the Cryo Phoenix, which is, you know, themed after Anivia. We already knew what all of these stances would be, but now it is really cool to finally see them in-game. However, this is where we can talk about some interesting things. First of all, a major problem of the old Udyr was that whenever Riot wanted to give Udyr a new skin, they had to make 4 new models for him instead of just 1. So making skins for Udyr was really expensive. That's why Udyr behaves differently now. You can see that the core of his body is always the same, and the different stances only swap his arms. In fact, earlier in the video, the first time he showed us the bear form, you can see that Udyr was a bit rushed because for one frame you can see where his hands disappear. They are replaced by the bare hands, but because the bare hands have a fade-in effect, when they are swapped there is nothing there for the first frame and then it starts to fade in. I hope this gets fixed for the final release, but at least this shows you how the tech behind Udyr works. So making skins for Udyr should be a bit easier now. However, things get funky when we have a look at the Trick2G video. I hope he's gonna be fine with me taking a few screenshots from that. Anyway, when he was showing off the skins, I did notice the reference in his ultimate skin, but more importantly, you can see the different stances of the other skins. And in all of them, you always have the core of his body the same, but only certain parts of Udyr change. And here is where I wanna call out one thing. If you main Udyr and you don't play the Primalist skin, you're insane. Because the Primalist skin essentially borrows the idea from the Ursine. You know, the shamans who actually change their own bodies based on the demigods? Yeah, that's what happens to Udyr in the Primalist skin. This is the Cryo Phoenix, and you can see how his lower body is the same, and his upper body is a pure demigod. But that's not even the best one. There is the bear stance, which actually doesn't really match the colors. That's because the original skin did have this horned bear, so Riot wanted to match the old skin. But then there is the Iron Boar, which looks incredible, and many people will definitely make jokes about being in a certain anime. Then there is the Ram, which is really funny because it actually turns him into a ram, even though it looks more like a goat. Riot, please change the horns. But regardless, the point is the same. The lower half of his body is always the same. So now, when Riot is designing skins for Udyr, they make one model, and then for the different stances, they just make different parts for him. They no longer have to make 4 new models from the ground up. Even for the ultimate skin, you can see that the core is the same and only his arms change. Even though, I assume, at maximum level, he will drastically change. That's the point of the ultimate skin. But then, here's the interesting part. For the Pajama Party Udyr, they actually did give him 4 different models. But I believe this is an exception. What most likely happened is that they looked at the original skin, they saw how vastly different all of the different models were, and they realized that if they used the new tech for the new skin, people would likely be upset that if the core of the skin was the same, and maybe only pieces of the pajama would change, it would be a downgrade. So to make sure the players don't feel like they were cheated, Riot most likely gave the skin 4 separate models, even though it is not a legendary skin. So props to Riot for doing it, even though it was extra job. Also, people are gonna love the boar. Now, I'm not gonna go through all the abilities in this video. If you wanna see the abilities, go and watch Trick2G's video. I don't really wanna rip all his content. But there is one more thing I can mention. Actually 2. First of all, his music is brilliant. You can hear it in the official trailer, and it seems to be loosely themed around both Volibear and Ornn, both of whom got a high fantasy Freljordian theme. But more importantly, it seems like that entire trailer is continuing where his story left off. If you don't remember, in the latest Sejuani story, she briefly mentioned that Udyr left them because after he encountered the Volibear, which is the more corrupting version of Volibear, he could feel the spirits breaking his mind. So he ventured out into the wild so he could get attuned to the old gods of Freljord again. That's why, as he's meditating, he is channeling the primal powers of the 4 main old gods. Volibear, the Iron Boar, Ornn, and Anivia. But of course we all know that these are not the only old gods Freljord has. There is also the Seal Sister, which Ornn mentioned in the past. And it was confirmed to us on Reddit that Udyr's passive will be themed after the Seal Sister. So I'm asking you, which part of this is seal based?